There are growing questions this hour about dozens of records that appear to be missing from the Epstein files. According to a CNN review, those records in question are FBI witness interviews, and 3 of the missing interviews are related to a woman who accused both Jeffrey Epstein and President Trump of sexually assaulting her decades ago. The top Democrat on the Oversight Committee is among those expressing concern.
I went to the DOJ file search room yesterday to look for these documents that are in the manifest document, and they should be in there, and they're not there. These documents relate to a survivor that has made serious allegations about the president. What's important now is that the DOJ explain to us why were those documents removed.
CNN's Kara Scannell joins us now. So, Kara, what more do we know about the specifics of these documents?
Well, Erica, the CNN investigative team have taken a look into these records, and they found that there are dozens of files that are missing. And the way that they were able to do this is they looked at the serial numbers that were on an evidence log provided to Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell. And looking at those serial numbers, discovered that there were dozens of them missing. I mean, these all relate to 302s. That's the FBI form for witness interviews. And there are 325 included on that list, but there are 90 of them missing. And within those 90 that are missing includes 3 from a woman who said that she was sexually assaulted by Jeffrey Epstein going back to when she was as young as 13 years old. And she also made an allegation that she was sexually assaulted by Donald Trump in the 1980s. Now, we went to the White House with this. They said that these are false allegations and it's just sensationalist. The Justice Department said that they have not deleted any documents, and that they said that if there are documents that are not on the public website, that's either because they were duplicates, privileged, or part of an ongoing investigation. We have seen with the release of these records on the public website that sometimes documents are there, they're taken down, then they're put back up. It's unclear if there is any process that is underway related to these specific documents and these allegations against Donald Trump. Donald Trump, though, has not been accused of any wrongdoing. He's not been investigated for any wrongdoing. And it's unclear what happened to these specific allegations by this woman who spoke with investigators in 2019. There was another record in the files, a summary from the FBI about a number of these salacious allegations, and it said that one person claimed abuse by Trump but refused to cooperate. So if that is that same person, it could be that they just reached a dead end. But of course, Democrats are calling foul, as they have repeatedly, about the Justice Department's process of publicizing the records that are required under the law and redactions that they have taken.
Hours after this story broke today, the Justice Department responded to questions of where these documents are, saying, as with all documents flagged by the public, the department is currently reviewing files within that category of production. Should any document be found to have been improperly tagged in the review process and is responsive to the act, meaning the law that forced them to publish all of this, the department will, of course, publish it consistent with that law. My source tonight is California Congressman Dave Min, who is a Democrat on the House Oversight Committee. And thank you for being here. When you hear that response from the Justice Department, do you believe that's sufficient?
Thanks so much for having me, Caitlin. And the answer is no, it's not. They are not responding to the law. And at this point, I think it appears clearer and clearer every day that they are knowingly violating and willfully violating the law that we passed, that Donald Trump signed into law. Requiring them to turn over every responsive document. And I want to be clear, just to clarify 2 things that I think you alluded to. One, Donald Trump is accused of sexually assaulting a child in those memos that you mentioned. 2, that it's not just a few dozen documents that are not being turned over. Fully half of the documents that we're aware of, some 3 million documents, have not been turned over by the DOJ. They claim they fully responded. And yet we've found over and over again, and I can tell you that Oversight Democratic staff have confirmed what you have found, that these documents are missing. They were not turned over, even though they were very clearly responsive to the questions that we asked. And this appears to be part of a very broad cover-up. And you may remember back to last May, when Pam Bondi reportedly told Donald Trump he was in the Epstein files. After that, there were a lot of reports that DOJ attorneys were being asked to go redact documents, to hide documents, to remove documents from the files that had Donald Trump's name. So we're definitely continuing to look at this, but it appears that the DOJ is willfully violating the law.
Yeah, and of course, an interview or a witness statement, it doesn't mean that it happened. I mean, you can read through these documents,
Yep.
there's a lot in there. But in terms of what should be published in accordance with the law that you passed, and these haven't been, I mean, do you believe that they're intentionally breaking that law, or do you think it's because, which is what we've heard from DOJ, they had so much to publish, it was such a compressed time frame, that's the issue here?
Yeah. And so just to give you a quick heads up on my background, I was a federal enforcement attorney to start my career at the SEC. I have spent many, many hours doing this type of document review and management and looking things through. And at this point, I do not believe that this is just a delay in turning the documents over. The fact that so many Donald Trump related documents have not been turned over, that his name's been repeatedly redacted, matches a lot of the reports that we heard that they were trying to cover this up. And at this point, I think, look, everybody's entitled to their day in court, whether that's Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Les Wexner, anybody else. But the fact is that everything here looks like the DOJ is, again, under the direction of Pam Bondi, the AG, willfully trying to hide a lot of what's happening right now.
Starting us off, Republican member of the House Oversight Committee, Congresswoman Ana Paulina Luna. Congresswoman, thank you for joining me this evening. I mean, you have heard likely the Department of Justice saying that they are looking into whether the files mentioning President Trump were improperly removed. Do you trust them to be transparent in that inquiry?
I have followed up on a number of occasions similar, and they have been very forthcoming. I've actually talked directly to Todd Blanche, and so I will personally be ensuring that that's followed through on. But I would like to also state that I think that the files that we have currently under this administration are likely not the full files. I do believe that some were destroyed previously. And I say that because in January of last year, when I was the only member of Congress that was pushing for the release of these files, we actually had a whistleblower come forward. I actually introduced legislation because of that. I even forwarded this finding to the FBI for investigation that there was destruction of evidence. And so it'll probably require a longer segment, but I will say that there have been redactions that we've come across. I've looked at the files for a number of hours. Whenever we flag those files, they are immediately then unredacted. But there has, and it does seem to be kind of an internal war going on even at the Department of Justice, where they have the order, and then you have some of the attorneys that have been in charge of the redactions. And so we're doing everything that we can to deliver on transparency. But as you can see, Epstein and his involved network is quite extensive and involves a lot of people.
Well, Congresswoman, that does not really inspire confidence if you believe files have been destroyed, that transparency is not complete, if it's not been thorough. How can the American public, who are not privy to what you say you've seen, who do not have access to the files, how can they be confident that the Attorney General, Bondi, leading this charge, or others who are in charge of providing documents, that they really will do so in the interest of justice?
Well, I think that, for starters, you have a bipartisan oversight committee actually working to not cover up, but actually go into all of this, right? We're interviewing the Clintons tomorrow. But to be clear, I mean, the destruction of evidence occurred under previous administrations. And that in itself, if you look at the network that was involved with Jeffrey Epstein, I mean, to think that there aren't shady things happening in your government, I think would just be a lie to the American people. The fact is that we did have someone come forward. They did say that there was destruction of evidence under the former deputy director of the FBI. And even if you're looking at the original plea deals that Jeffrey Epstein was given, you know, when he was first charged, and then also more recently when he then committed suicide in New York, I mean, he should have never gotten off. He should have never had his sentences dropped down to the way that he did. And there are marks of intelligence surrounding this as well, whether it was foreign or, you know, our own. But I don't think that we're ever going to get the full picture. And so I think that when you're talking about this story as a whole, these things, we try to be transparent. I'm telling the American people directly on my social media is what I'm finding out as we learn them. But I think the Jeffrey Epstein case in itself will kind of go down in history as one of those things that we might not fully ever get the answers on.